chosen one. Stop scrolling, stop moving, stop breathing for just one moment. Why are you awake at 3 a.m. again, staring at bills that laugh at your prayers? Why did your own children, the ones you sacrificed 40 years for, look you in the eye and say you're a burden? Why does every door slam shut just when hope dares to whisper your name? Here's the shocking truth they don't want you to know. Your pain has an expiration date, and it expires today. Something catastrophic just happened in the spiritual realm. A vault that's been sealed in heaven for centuries, locked tighter than Fort Knox, guarded by angels, hidden from human eyes, just cracked open like thunder splitting the night sky. The sound echoed through eternity itself. And your name. Your name was the key that shattered the lock. I'm not talking about some feel-good sermon to make you smile for 5 minutes. I'm talking about divine intervention, so massive, so overwhelming, that billionaires will study your story to understand how God moves mountains. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who fed 5,000 with a boy's lunch, who raised Lazarus from a tomb, he just whispered something about you that made angels hold their breath. Listen, can you hear that? That's not your heartbeat. That's heaven's war drums announcing your season. Every betrayal that broke your spirit, every medical bill that crushed your dreams, every night you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if God forgot your address, none of it was random. None of it was punishment. It was preparation. God never forgot your address, beloved. He was building something in the unseen realm while you were bleeding in the seen realm. While your family wrote you off, heaven was writing you UP. While society counted you out, the Almighty was counting you in for a blessing so massive, it'll rewrite your family tree for the next 100 years. Before we go deeper into this mystery, and make no mistake, this is a mystery that's been hidden since before time began. I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let faith lead your heart. But right now, if this word is piercing your soul like a sword of truth, if something inside you just stirred awake for the first time in years, type in the comments, "I'm ready for overflow." Let the heavens and the enemy know exactly where you stand. Because what happens next will separate the doubters from the believers, the settlers from the receivers, the forgotten from the chosen. Your billionaire's blessing isn't coming, beloved. It's here. Why are you still alive when others who had easier lives are already gone? Why did that heart attack at 62 leave you scarred but breathing when your healthy neighbor didn't make it past 50? Why have you survived bankruptcy, betrayal, and broken dreams that would have destroyed lesser souls? Here's the answer that'll shake you to your core. You weren't surviving random tragedies. You were breaking the combination to a vault that's been waiting for you since before the foundation of the world. Listen to me, chosen one. Deep in the throne room of heaven, past the 24 elders, beyond the crystal sea, there stands a vault that makes Fort Knox look like a piggy bank. This vault has been sealed for centuries, not with steel and concrete, but with divine mystery. Angels have walked past it for millennia, wondering whose name was etched on its golden doors. Archangels have asked the Father, "When will this one be opened?" And God's response has always been the same. When my chosen one has been refined by enough fire to handle what's inside, your life hasn't been a series of random misfortunes, beloved. It's been a divine combination lock, and every tragedy has been another number falling into place. That divorce that nearly destroyed you. Click. First number locked in. That business that failed despite your prayers. Click. Second number aligned. Those children who turned their backs after everything you sacrificed. Click. Third number secured. Every betrayal, every loss, every night, you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if God had forgotten your name. Those weren't punishments. Those were the sound of tumblers falling, locks opening, seals breaking, on a blessing so massive it required decades of preparation just for you to be able to contain it. You think God was absent during your darkest hours. He was standing guard at your vault, watching every tear you cried get transformed into liquid gold. Every prayer you whispered in desperation become another layer of interest compounding on your divine inheritance. But why did it take so long? Why didn't God just open the vault when you were young and strong enough to enjoy it? Because young people squander what older people steward. Because untested vessels crack under the pressure of billion-dollar anointings. Because God needed to know, not wonder. Know that when He placed unlimited resources in your hands, you wouldn't lose your soul in the process. Look at Joseph, 17 years old with dreams of greatness. But God didn't hand him Egypt's treasury at 17. First came the pit, then slavery, then false accusations, then prison. 13 years of having every door slammed in his face. 13 years of being forgotten, overlooked, written off by everyone who should have remembered his name. But here's what Joseph didn't know during those prison years. Every injustice was qualifying him. Every betrayal was building his character. Every closed door was God saying, "Not yet. You're not ready for what I'm preparing to put in your hands." When Pharaoh finally called Joseph from the dungeon to the palace, it wasn't just a promotion. It was the opening of a vault that would save the entire known world from 7 years of famine. Genesis 41-57 tells us, all countries came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph because the famine was severe in all the world. One man's vault became the lifeline for nations. Your vault isn't just for you, chosen one. Your blessing is designed to be a river, not a lake. It's meant to flow through you to heal communities, restore families, and fund kingdom advancement that will echo through eternity. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where the story becomes your story. Every door that slammed shut in your face, was it rejection or divine redirection? Every opportunity you lost, was it failure or divine protection from something that would have stolen your destiny? Every relationship that ended, was it abandonment or God removing people who couldn't handle where He was taking you? You've been asking the wrong questions for decades. Instead of "Why me, God?" you should have been asking, "What are you preparing me for?" The vault has your name on it. It's always had your name on it. But the combination could only be unlocked through the specific sequence of trials that would transform you from someone who begs for blessing into someone who commands respect from billionaires. Your gray hair isn't a sign of decline. It's a crown of wisdom that proves you've been tested by fire and refined by time. Your wrinkles aren't marks of age, they're etchings of experience that qualify you for assignments younger people couldn't handle. Your scars aren't shame, they're credentials that heaven recognizes and hell fears. Right now, as I speak these words, something is shifting in the spiritual atmosphere. The final tumbler is falling into place. The last seal is breaking. The vault that's carried your name for 70, 80, maybe 90 years is creaking open for the first time since it was sealed. But here's the urgency you need to understand. Vaults don't stay open forever. There are divine windows of opportunity that close when the moment passes. This isn't just another inspirational message to make you feel better about your situation. This is a prophetic announcement that your season of preparation is over and your season of manifestation has begun. The question isn't whether you deserve what's in that vault. The question is whether you'll have the faith to reach for it when the doors swing wide. Don't you dare turn away, because what's coming in the next minutes will explain why your decades of pain are about to turn into rivers of abundance that will make your enemies weep and your children call you blessed. The combination is almost complete. The vault is almost open, and what's inside will prove that God really does save the best wine for last. Listen to me, chosen one. I need to expose the liar who's been whispering poison in your ear for decades. The devil himself has been your personal psychological terrorist, and it's time to call him out by name. You know his voice, don't you? You hear it every morning when you look in that mirror. You're too old. You missed your chance. If God was going to bless you, it would have happened by now. That's not wisdom talking, that's warfare. He whispers when you see that college graduation photo on your nightstand. Look how young you were. Look how full of dreams. Now look at you. But here's what that lying serpent doesn't want you to know. He's absolutely terrified of what's about to happen in your life. Your own family became his megaphone. Mom, you need to be realistic. Dad, accept your situation. Stop dreaming. Act your age. They didn't know they were speaking the devil's language, but every time they told you to settle, they were echoing hell's agenda to keep you small, quiet, and defeated. Society programmed you to believe 70 is the sunset, not the sunrise. They sold you the lie that retirement means retreat, that your golden years should be golden chains keeping you invisible. But Isaiah 54:17 demolishes every lie they ever told you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not some weapons, no weapons. Not the weapon of age discrimination, not the weapon of financial limitation, not the weapon of family rejection, not the weapon of church neglect. None of them prosper against God's chosen. Right now, I want you to hear something cracking. Those rusted chains of doubt that have been wrapped around your spirit for years, they're breaking. The lies about being too late, too old, too broken, they're falling off like rust from iron heated in the furnace of God's truth. You think those wrinkles make you worthless? Those wrinkles are crowns of wisdom earned through decades of trusting God when trusting made no sense. You think those scars make you damaged? Those scars are medals of honor proving you survived what should have killed you. You think that gray hair means you're finished? That gray hair is silver refined in the fire of experience, marking you as someone heaven can trust with eternal treasure. The enemy never attacked you because you were weak. He attacked you because you were dangerous. Every setback was his attempt to prevent your comeback. Every delay was his desperate move to stop your destiny. Every rejection was his panic attack over your divine selection. They called your bankruptcy failure. God called it preparation for managing billions. They called your broken marriage the end heaven, called it the beginning of your ministry to restore families. They called your children's rebellion heartbreak. The Almighty called it training for becoming a spiritual parent to a generation of orphans. They called it failure. God called it preparation. They called it the end. Heaven called it the beginning. They called it rejection. God called it selection. They called it over. Heaven called it overflow. But heaven just flipped the script. God looked at the devil's resume of destruction in your life and said, "Watch this. Every weapon that was formed is about to backfire. Every curse is about to become a blessing. Every closed door is about to become an open vault of supernatural provision." The very age they said disqualified you is what makes you unstoppable now. You're not running out of time, you are running into your time. Moses was 80 when God said, "Now you're ready to deliver a nation." Abraham was 99 when heaven said, "Now you're mature enough to father multitudes." Sarah was 90 when the Almighty declared, "Now your womb is ready for the impossible." Anna was 84 when she became the first to recognize the Messiah in the temple. Your age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. Every year you've lived, every tear you've cried, every battle you've fought has been preparing you for this exact moment when God says, "Now." Now you understand suffering enough to handle abundance. Now you know heartbreak enough to heal others. Now you've been tested enough to be trusted with billions. You've been in God's graduate school of adversity, and your diploma is about to arrive with your name written in gold across heaven's registry of the faithful. If you know the devil tried to stop you, but failed, if you feel those chains of delay breaking right now, type in the comments, "I am unstoppable in Christ." Let hell hear your declaration. Let every demon that whispered lies about your expiration date know that your activation date just arrived. But here's the question that will determine whether you step into this blessing or stay stuck in yesterday's limitations. Will you finally stop agreeing with hell's assessment of your age and start aligning with heaven's appointment for your abundance? Now listen to me carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to reveal will shatter every lie you've believed about God's abundance. You think this billionaire's blessing is about buying a Bentley to show off at Sunday service. You think it's about a mansion with more rooms than you can count. You're thinking too small. This isn't about luxury, beloved. This is about legacy. When God spoke wealth over your life, He wasn't talking about stuffing your bank account until it bursts. He was talking about influence that shifts nations, resources that heal generations, and purpose so powerful it rewrites history books. The billionaire's blessing isn't a reward for good behavior. It's a weapon for kingdom warfare. Look at Joseph, sold into slavery by his own brothers, forgotten in an Egyptian prison, written off by everyone who knew his name. But when Pharaoh elevated him to second in command, Joseph didn't use that wealth to build golden palaces. He used it to save nations from starvation. His blessing became the bridge between death and life for millions of people, including the bloodline of Jesus Christ Himself. That's the kind of blessing heading your way. Look at Queen Esther, one woman with access to the king's treasury. She could have lived in luxury while her people suffered under genocide. But she understood something that separates the chosen from the comfortable. Your blessing is never just about you. She risked everything to save an entire nation because she knew her royal position was divine appointment, not personal accommodation. Look at Solomon. When God offered him anything his heart desired, he could have asked for endless riches or eternal youth. Instead, he asked for wisdom, and that wisdom attracted the wealth of kings from around the world. 1 Kings 10:23 declares, King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than all the other kings of the earth. His blessing didn't just fill his treasury, it built a temple that became the heartbeat of Jerusalem for generations. You see the pattern, don't you? God doesn't give billionaire blessings to people who want to hoard wealth like spiritual dragons sitting on gold. He gives them to vessels who understand that abundance is not a stagnant bank account, it's a river that never runs dry, never stops flowing, never ceases to refresh everything it touches. Most people dig wells when God offers them access to underground rivers that connect straight to heaven's throne room. You've been living in drought season while this river raged beneath your feet, waiting for you to stop settling for puddles when oceans belong to you. But let me show you something that will blow your mind. This isn't just ancient history, beloved. God is still moving the same way today. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Born to a teenage single mother in rural Mississippi, so poor she wore dresses made from potato sacks. Molested, abused, told she was worthless. But God saw something else. He saw a voice that would reach millions, a platform that would heal hearts, a blessing that would flow like a river to touch every corner of the earth. Her wealth isn't just personal success, it's generational impact. Look at Tyler Perry, homeless at 28, living in his car, working construction just to eat. But God was positioning him for something the world couldn't see. Today, his studios employ thousands, his movies inspire millions, and his giving changes lives across the globe. His blessing didn't stop at his bank account, it became a fountain pouring into communities that had been forgotten. And what about Colonel Sanders? Started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was 62 years old. 62! The world said he was too old, too late, too broke to matter. But God said he was right on time. His secret recipe didn't just make him rich, it created an empire that still feeds families worldwide decades after his death. Your age isn't your disqualification, dear one. It's your asset. Your experience isn't your limitation. It's your leverage. Your scars aren't evidence of your failure. They're proof of your qualification for supernatural breakthrough. Right now, something is erupting in the spiritual realm. Not approaching you, erupting from within you. The blessing isn't coming from somewhere else. It's been dormant inside you, waiting for this exact moment when your faith would align with heaven's timing. Every tear you've cried over unpaid bills was watering the seed of abundance in your spirit. Every prayer you've whispered in grocery store aisles was activating the river system that's about to burst through the surface of your circumstances. Every sleepless night wondering if God forgot about you was actually the sound of divine drilling, breaking through the rock of resistance to release what's always belonged to you. This river doesn't trickle, beloved. Luke 6:38 promises it will be pressed down, shaken together, running over. Abundance so aggressive, it spills out of your lap, floods your floor, and forces everyone around you to grab buckets just to help you contain the blessing. But here's what's going to shock you to your core. This blessing isn't approaching you like some distant storm on the horizon. It's not coming to you from the outside. It's erupting from within you right now. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is awakening every dormant gift, every buried dream, every suppressed calling that's been sleeping in your DNA. Romans 8:11 declares that resurrection power is giving life to your mortal body at this very moment. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Put your hand on your chest. Right now. Feel that heartbeat. That's not just blood pumping through your veins. That's liquid blessing flowing through your spiritual circulatory system. Say it out loud, don't just think it. Speak it into existence. The river is flowing in me. Say it again. Louder this time. The river is flowing in me. Because the question that will determine everything about your next chapter is this. Will you keep digging wells for temporary relief? Or will you tap into the eternal river that's been calling your name since before you took your first breath? Listen to me, dear one. I know what happened. I know about that phone call 3 years ago when your daughter asked for money again. $28,000 for her business venture that never materialized. I know about your son who promised to pay you back, then changed his number. I know about those grandchildren who only call when they need something, then disappear for months like smoke in the wind. You're sitting there right now, maybe in that same chair where you've cried 1,000 tears, wondering if you failed as a parent, wondering if you wasted your love on ungrateful hearts, wondering if God sees how your own flesh and blood treats you like an ATM with feelings. But here's what hell doesn't want you to understand. Their rejection isn't God's reflection on your worth. Their failure to honor you doesn't diminish heaven's plan to bless you. You think this billionaire's blessing is about them validating you. You think God needs their approval to pour abundance into your life. Beloved, you've got it backwards. This blessing isn't coming to make them love you more. This blessing is coming to establish something they can't even comprehend yet. A bloodline legacy that will echo through eternity. Look at an oak tree, chosen one. Really look at it. That massive trunk didn't grow overnight. Cut it open, and you'll see rings, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Each ring tells a story. Each circle marks a year of storms weathered, seasons survived, roots that refused to die. Some rings are thick from years of abundance, others are thin from years of drought. But every single ring carries something precious inside it, the DNA of generations. You are that oak tree. Every betrayal that cut deep, every financial loss that left you gasping, every sleepless night wondering if you'd survive another crisis, those weren't just random sufferings. Those were rings being formed in your spiritual trunk, rings that carry the genetic code of breakthrough for generations you'll never meet. The Bible declares in Proverbs 13:22, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Not just money, beloved. Not just property or possessions. An inheritance of favor, an inheritance of divine connection, an inheritance of breakthrough DNA that skips generations and lands exactly where God intended. Your children may have disappointed you, but what about your children's children? What about their children? What about the great-granddaughter who isn't even a thought in anyone's mind yet, but she's already written in God's book? Right now, somewhere in your bloodline, maybe 2 generations down, maybe 3, there's a single mother working 3 jobs, choosing between groceries and gas money. She doesn't know your name. She's never heard your story, but she's about to inherit the blessing you're receiving today. That apartment she can't afford, you're about to pay for her mansion. That college education she thinks is impossible, you're about to fund her PhD. There's a teenager in your family tree, maybe not even born yet, who's going to want to give up. Depression will tell him he's worthless. Circumstances will scream that there's no hope. But something inside his DNA, something you planted by your faithfulness today, will rise up and say, I come from fighters. I come from overcomers. I come from people who don't quit. Do you understand what's happening here? You're not just receiving money. You are birthing a legacy. You are becoming the turning point in your family's financial DNA. The poverty stops with you. The struggle ends at your generation. The curse dies in your hands so blessing can be born through your faithfulness. That grandson who barely calls you, his daughter is going to call you blessed. Those great-grandchildren who've never met you, they're going to study your story like a textbook on how God transforms families. Your name is going to be whispered in prayers of gratitude from people who share your blood but live in a century you'll never see. This is why the enemy fought you so hard. This is why hell mobilized against your family line for decades. Because he could see what was coming. He could see the generational breakthrough. He could see the bloodline blessing. He could see that one person's obedience was about to undo centuries of struggle. But here's what breaks my heart and should break yours too. How many people in your lineage are praying right now for exactly what God is trying to release through you? How many of your descendants are on their knees begging heaven for breakthrough while you're sitting there wondering if you deserve it? You're not just somebody's ancestor, you are somebody's answered prayer. You're not just getting blessed, you are becoming a blessing. You're not just receiving an inheritance, you are establishing one. The mansion they'll live in, your faithfulness built it. The businesses they'll start, your breakthrough funded them. The opportunities they'll walk into, your obedience opened those doors. Every time they win, they're walking in the victory you claimed when nobody else believed. You want to know why this blessing took so long? Because God wasn't just preparing your blessing, He was preparing your bloodline to receive it. He was positioning the right people in the right places at the right time, so that when your abundance flows, it flows exactly where it needs to go. But here's the question that will determine everything. Will you step into this legacy role, or will you let bitterness from past disappointments rob future generations of their inheritance? Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly how God plans to use your pain as the foundation for their prosperity. Chosen one, everything stops right here, right now, because what I'm about to ask you will determine whether you walk away blessed or remain forever broken. Why do you really want this billionaire's blessing? Be honest. Strip away the spiritual language. Peel back the Sunday school answers. When you close your eyes and imagine millions flowing into your account, what's the first thing you see? A mansion in the Hamptons? A fleet of Bentleys? Your name on a hospital wing, so people will finally respect you. Here's the brutal truth that separates the chosen from the choosy. God is watching your heart right now. He's recording every motive. He's measuring every intention. And if your vision stops at your own comfort, your blessing stops at your own door. This isn't a lottery ticket, beloved. This isn't God's way of making you comfortable while the world burns around you. This billionaire's blessing isn't a trophy for your mantle, it's a tool for your mission. And God doesn't hand billion-dollar anointings to selfish dreamers who want to play spiritual millionaire while children starve 3 blocks from their penthouse. Look at Esther. One woman with access to the king's treasury, unlimited wealth at her fingertips. She could have lived in luxury while her people faced genocide. But when the moment came, she risked everything, her position, her wealth, her very life to save an entire nation. Esther 4:14 records Mordecai's words. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Your blessing isn't about such a time as this moment in your life. It's about such a time as this moment in history. Joseph controlled the entire economy of Egypt. Every grain of wheat, every ounce of gold flowed through his hands. He could have hoarded it all, built personal empires, satisfied every earthly desire. Instead, he opened the storehouses during 7 years of famine and fed nations. Genesis 41-57 tells us, "And all the world came to Egypt to Joseph to buy grain, because the famine was severe everywhere. One man's stewardship became the bridge between death and life for millions." But here's what's going to shock you, dear one. God has been testing your motives for decades without you even knowing it. Every time you had $5 and someone needed $3, he was watching. Every time you had a warm meal and saw someone hungry, he was taking notes. Every time you had a listening ear and someone needed hope, he was recording your response. Your broke season wasn't punishment, it was examination. Your struggling years weren't abandonment, they were assessment. God was asking one question. When they have nothing, do they still give? When they're empty, do they still pour out? When they're forgotten, do they still remember others? And you passed the test, chosen one. Every single time you shared when you had nothing to share. Every moment you blessed when you felt cursed. Every occasion you lifted others when you were drowning yourself. You were proving to heaven that you could be trusted with more. But let me ask you something that'll cut straight to your core. What will you do when God puts 10 million in your hands? Will you finally help that struggling single mother down the street who's been choosing between electricity and groceries for 6 months? Will you fund that homeless shelter that's been praying for a miracle? Will you become the answer to someone else's desperate 3 a.m. prayer? The widow who gave her last 2 coins understood something the rich young ruler never grasped. Generosity isn't about the amount, it's about the heart. Luke 21:3 records Jesus saying, "This poor widow has put in more than all the others." Your willingness to give when you have little determines your capacity to receive when God has much to release. Right now, I need you to do something that's going to plant a seed in the spiritual realm. I want you to comment below, not next week, not when you feel like it, but right now, one specific way you'll use your blessing to bless others. Write it down, make it real. Let heaven and earth witness your covenant. Will you build schools in forgotten neighborhoods? Will you pay off medical debt for families drowning in bills? Will you fund ministries that feed the hungry and house the homeless? Your preparation is your proof to God that you're ready for promotion. Because here's the sobering reality that most people never understand. Modern millionaires like Mackenzie Scott gave away $12 billion in 2 years. Warren Buffett pledged 99% of his wealth to charity. They discovered what Solomon knew. True wealth multiplies when you give it away, not when you hoard it. But you have something they don't have, chosen one. You have covenant relationship with the source of all wealth. You have direct access to the treasury of heaven. You have the ability to steward resources with divine wisdom, not just human strategy. God is about to entrust you with wealth that'll make headlines, but He's watching to see if your heart can handle the headlines. Will you become another rich fool who builds bigger barns for himself? Or will you become the faithful steward who feeds nations and funds revival? Your motive isn't just being tested, it's being revealed. And what's about to be revealed will determine whether you become a monument to God's faithfulness or a cautionary tale about wasted opportunity. The question echoing through heaven right now is this: can you be trusted with a blessing that could change the world? Beloved, what I'm about to tell you will either ignite your faith or terrify your flesh. We are standing at the edge of a 7-day window that will change everything. Not 7 weeks, not 7 months, 7 days. Why 7? Because 7 is God's number of completion, of perfection, of divine breakthrough that shakes the foundations of impossibility. Look at Jericho. For 6 days, the Israelites marched around those massive walls in complete silence. 6 days of looking foolish to the world. 6 days of seeming like nothing was happening. But on the 7th day, when they opened their mouths and shouted, those walls didn't just crack, they collapsed. Completely, utterly, supernaturally. You've been marching around your walls for years, haven't you? The wall of financial lack, the wall of family rejection, the wall of medical bills that tower over your faith like skyscrapers of fear. But chosen one, this is your 7th day. God spoke creation into existence in 7 days. Noah's Ark found dry ground after 7 days. Jesus fed the multitudes, and they gathered 7 baskets of leftovers. 7 isn't coincidence, it's covenant. And right now, as these words penetrate your spirit, Heaven's stopwatch just started ticking. 7 days, 168 hours, 10,080 minutes. But who's counting? God is. Here's what's going to happen, and I need you to listen with every fiber of your being. Within the next 7 days, and I'm not speaking hope, I'm speaking prophecy, something will confirm this word. It might be a phone call you weren't expecting. It might be a check in your mailbox from a source you can't explain. It might be a door that's been locked for decades, suddenly creaking open like heaven's own hinges. But it will happen. The shift isn't coming, beloved. The shift is here. Your spirit knows it. Your body might doubt it, but your spirit, that eternal part of you that's connected to the throne room of the Almighty, is vibrating with recognition right now. You feel it in your chest, don't you? That electricity, that knowing, that sense that the atmosphere around your life just changed. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where heaven demands your participation in your own miracle. I need you to do something that might seem crazy to your logical mind, but is absolutely essential to your spiritual breakthrough. Right now, not after this video, not tomorrow morning, right now. Get a pen, get a journal, get anything you can write with. Write today's date, write it big, write it bold, circle it, underline it, because that date is about to become your testimony marker. That date is when heaven opened a window that's been sealed over your life for years. 7 days from today, you're going to look back at this moment and understand that this wasn't just another message you stumbled across on YouTube. This was a divine appointment. This was God interrupting your regular programming to download instructions for your breakthrough. But beloved, faith without action is dead. James 2:26 doesn't stutter. Your faith needs feet, your belief needs behavior, your hope needs hands that move. So right now in these comments, type today's date. Don't think about it. Don't analyze it. Type it. Type it as an act of faith. Type it as a declaration to heaven that you're ready. Type it as a warning to hell that their time of tormenting you just expired. Type, no more delay. This is my trumpet blast of faith. Because when you type those words, you're not just making a comment, you're making a covenant. You're joining the thousands of others who are standing with you in this moment, declaring that the season of barely surviving is over. But here's the final test of your obedience, and it's the one that separates the casual believers from the chosen warriors. There's someone in your life right now, maybe it's your sister who's been battling depression, maybe it's your neighbor who just lost his job, maybe it's that friend who's been drowning in medical debt, and God is telling you to share this message with them. Their miracle may depend on your obedience. You see, blessing isn't just about receiving, it's about releasing. It's about becoming a conduit of heaven's power, not just a container. When you share this word with someone who needs it, you're not just helping them, you're activating the law of multiplication in your own life. Share this message. Send it to that person whose name just popped in your head. Don't second-guess the Holy Spirit. Don't let fear tell you they might think you're crazy. Let them think whatever they want. But let God think you're obedient. The clock is ticking. Chosen one. 7 days. Your breakthrough window is open. But windows don't stay open forever. What will you choose? Beloved, you thought this was the end. Heaven just whispered something that's going to shake you to your core. The vault hasn't finished opening. Listen to me carefully. What you just experienced wasn't the blessing that was just the announcement. What you felt stirring in your spirit wasn't the breakthrough that was just the breaking of the seal. The door you heard creaking open. Dear chosen one, it's now standing wide open, and treasures are spilling out like a waterfall that's been dammed up for 70 years. But here's what's going to shock you. This isn't just about money. The gold coins rolling across heaven's floor. Those represent the restoration of your relationships. That family that abandoned you is about to come crawling back, not because they need your money, but because they'll recognize the anointing that's now radiating from your life. Your prodigal children who haven't called in months are about to show up at your door with tears in their eyes and apologies on their lips. The silver bars stacked to the ceiling, Those represent the healing that's about to flood your body. That arthritis that's been crippling you for 20 years, it's about to bow to the name of Jesus. That depression that's been your unwelcome companion since your spouse died, it's packing its bags tonight. That medication cabinet that looks like a pharmacy is about to become a museum of what God delivered you from. The precious stones scattered like stars across the vault floor, those represent the dreams you buried with your disappointments. That book you always wanted to write, the ministry you thought was too late to start, the business idea you convinced yourself was foolish. They're all coming back to life, not as wishful thinking, but as divine assignments with heaven's backing. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. Can you feel it? That electricity in the atmosphere around you right now, that's not your imagination. That's the sound of chains breaking, financial chains that have held your bloodline captive for generations. Broken, chains of sickness that have plagued your family tree shattered, chains of limitation that made you accept less than God's best, obliterated. But I need to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. You've been focusing on the wrong treasure this entire time. You've been praying for dollars when God has been preparing destiny. You've been asking for provision when He's been orchestrating position. You've been begging for money when He's been building you into a monument of His faithfulness. The blessing you thought was about your bank account is actually about your bloodline. The miracle you thought was about paying bills is actually about changing history. The breakthrough you thought was personal is actually generational. Deuteronomy 28:13 declares, "The Lord will make you the head, not the tail." If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Do you hear that? Head, not tail. Top, not bottom. This isn't about survival anymore, beloved. This is about supremacy. This is about God elevating you so high that your testimony becomes a landmark for future generations. But here's the urgency that should grip your soul right now. This moment, this very second, you're hearing my voice, is what the Greeks called kairos time. Not chronos, the ticking of clocks, but kairos, the fullness of time when heaven intersects with earth. When opportunity meets preparation, when destiny meets availability. Your great-grandmother prayed this prayer into existence. Your grandfather's tears watered the ground for this harvest. Your mother's midnight intercessions built the foundation for this breakthrough. And you are standing at the culmination of a century of prayers, positioned to receive what generations before you could only dream about. In Joshua 1-3, God told His chosen one, "I will give you every place where you set your foot." Not some places, every place. Your foot is about to touch territories your mind can't even imagine. Boardrooms you never thought you'd enter, contracts you never thought you'd sign, opportunities you never thought you'd see. But the enemy knows what time it is too. That's why the attacks on your mind have been so vicious lately. That's why doubt has been screaming so loudly. That's why everything seems to be falling apart, just when breakthrough should be breaking through. The devil recognizes kairos moments, and he's throwing everything he has at you because he knows if you step into this moment with faith, his reign of terror in your life is over. Romans 8:28 promises that all things work together for good, to them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose. All things. The betrayal that broke your heart, it's working for your good. The sickness that weakened your body, it's positioning you for a testimony. The poverty that humiliated your pride, it's preparing you to handle wealth with humility. The blessing you thought was about dollars is actually about destiny. Your story isn't ending, chosen one. Your story is just beginning to make sense. The vault isn't just open, it's overflowing. And you're not just receiving, you're becoming the blessing that others will pray for. If you can feel your destiny stirring, if you sense the vault of heaven positioned over your life right now, if you're ready to step into what God has been preparing since before you took your first breath, type in the comments right now, "My vault is open." Because, beloved, what happens next will prove that the best wine was always saved for last. Beloved, I need you to do something right now that might feel uncomfortable. I want you to get up, yes, right now, and walk to the nearest mirror. Go ahead, I'll wait. Look at yourself. Really look. What do you see? I know what the enemy has been whispering. Every morning for the past 20 years, he's turned that mirror into a weapon. Too old, he hisses. Too late, too broken, too irrelevant. Look at those wrinkles. Look at that grey hair. Look at how the world has forgotten you. But here's the shocking truth that'll shatter every lie you've believed about yourself. The devil is terrified of mirrors. You know why? Because mirrors don't lie. And when you look into heaven's mirror instead of hell's funhouse reflection, you see something that makes demons flee and angels sing. James 1:23 says, "Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and, after looking at himself, goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like." But verse 25 reveals the secret. "But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do." You've been looking into the wrong mirror, chosen one. Society's mirror shows you a senior citizen counting down days, but God's mirror shows you a seasoned warrior counting up victories. The world's mirror reflects wrinkles. Heaven's mirror reveals wisdom etched by fire. Man's mirror shows age spots. The Almighty's mirror displays anointing marks. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. What if every single thing you've been ashamed of is exactly what God has been preparing to use? What if your divorce wasn't your disqualification, but your qualification to counsel broken hearts? What if your bankruptcy wasn't your failure, but your training to understand what real wealth means? What if your depression wasn't your weakness, but your weapon against the spirit of despair attacking this generation? Listen to me carefully. Those scars you try to hide, they're not signs of your defeat. They're seals of your survival. Every line on your face tells a story of a battle you won. Every grey hair is a crown of glory earned through decades of refusing to quit when quitting would have been easier. The enemy has been running a masterful con game on you. He convinced you that your past disqualifies your future, that your age cancels your calling, that your struggles prove you're not chosen. But here's what hell doesn't want you to know. God doesn't waste pain. He weaponizes it. Think about this. Moses had a speech impediment, and God chose him to be his spokesperson. David was an adulterer and murderer, and God called him a man after his own heart. Peter denied Christ 3 times, and Jesus handed him the keys to the kingdom. Paul persecuted Christians and became the greatest apostle who ever lived. Your flaws don't disqualify you. They authenticate you. But here's where it gets controversial, and this might shock you to your core. What if God allowed your children to abandon you because he needed you available for his assignment? What if he permitted that financial collapse because he's preparing you for a wealth transfer that requires empty hands? What if he let your health fail because he wants to demonstrate his healing power through a body everyone said was finished? I know that sounds harsh. I know it cuts against everything you've been taught about a gentle Jesus. But the same Jesus who wept with Mary and Martha also flipped tables in the temple. The same God who comforts also confronts. And right now, he's confronting every lie you've believed about your worth, your purpose, your destiny. When Jacob wrestled with God all night, he walked away with a limp. But that limp wasn't his weakness, it was his witness. Every step he took for the rest of his life testified to the night he touched the divine and lived to tell about it. Your limp is your testimony, beloved. Your scars are your sermon. Your struggles are your strength. Here's the revelation that's going to transform everything. You're not looking at yourself through the right lens. When you look in that mirror, you don't see wrinkles, you see wisdom carved by decades of walking with the Almighty. You don't see scars, you see seals of survival that prove hell couldn't take you out. You don't see age, you see anointing that only comes through time spent in God's presence. The world measures value by youth and beauty. God measures worth by faithfulness and endurance. The world celebrates the untested. Heaven honors the proven, society worships smooth skin. The Almighty treasures scarred hands that have served, sacrificed, and survived. But here's the question that'll determine everything about your future. Will you keep looking into the devil's distorted mirror, or will you finally see yourself through heaven's eyes? Will you keep agreeing with hell's assessment, or will you align with God's appraisal? Because right now, at this very moment, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. The same God who told Gideon, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior," when he was hiding in a winepress, is looking at you, sitting in your living room, maybe in your pajamas, feeling forgotten and overlooked, and he's saying the exact same thing. The mirror doesn't lie, chosen one, but you've been looking into the wrong one your whole life. So I'm going to ask you to do something that might feel foolish, but will change everything. Look into that mirror again, and this time, whisper these words out loud. I receive my true reflection. I am who God says I am. I carry what heaven placed in me. I am chosen, anointed, and appointed for such a time as this. Say it. Don't just think it. Your voice carries authority that your thoughts don't possess. Your declaration activates what your doubt has been deactivating. But here's the question that's burning in my spirit right now. If this is who you really are, if you're not the forgotten failure but the chosen vessel, then why has your blessing been delayed for so long? What's heaven been waiting for? But wait, chosen one, wait. You thought this river was about filling your empty bank account? You thought God cracked open heaven's vault just to pay your light bill? Think bigger. Think nations. Listen to me carefully. That supernatural river of abundance flowing through your living room right now, it's not stopping at your front door. It's not ending with your mortgage payment. That river has an assignment that'll make your head spin and your heart pound with holy purpose. Look at your hands. Go ahead. Look at them. Those weathered fingers that counted pennies for decades. Those palms that wiped away tears of financial desperation. God is about to turn them into faucets of provision for an entire generation. The river that kept you alive is about to turn you into a fountain for nations. You think I'm exaggerating? You think this old preacher's getting carried away? Let me take you to Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 1. The prophet sees water trickling from under the threshold of the temple. Just a trickle at first. Ankle deep, then knee deep, then waist deep. But by verse 5, that tiny stream had become a river that I could not cross, for the water had risen and become deep enough to swim in. That river didn't stop at the temple walls, beloved. Ezekiel 47:9 declares, "Wherever the river goes, every living creature that swarms will live." Every living creature. Not some, not a few. Every creature it touches receives life. You were never meant to be a pond, storing up blessings like some spiritual hoarder. You were designed to be a river, a flowing, life-giving, nation-changing torrent of God's goodness. But here's what's going to shock you to your core. That river isn't just flowing to you anymore. It's flowing through you. The river is flowing into your children who wrote you off, and they're about to call you blessed. The river is flowing into your community that forgot your name, and they're about to beg for your wisdom. The river is flowing into your city that counted you as invisible, and they're about to see you as indispensable. Can you see it? That supernatural abundance leaving your house like floodwaters breaking through a dam. It's spilling into the apartment complex where that single mother counts food stamps. It's rushing into the nursing home where forgotten seniors wait for visitors who never come. It's flowing into the schools where teachers spend their own money on supplies because the system failed them. The river is flowing into your grandchildren's futures, creating opportunities they can't even imagine yet. The river is flowing into businesses that haven't been started, churches that haven't been built, ministries that haven't been birthed. But the enemy has been whispering lies in your ear. You're too old to make a difference. Your time has passed. Leave the big dreams to younger people. That's not God's voice, that's hell's panic attack over what you're about to unleash. Moses was 80 when he delivered a nation. Abraham was 100 when he birthed the promise. Caleb was 85 when he said, Give me this mountain. Your age isn't your limitation. It's your qualification to carry something the young ones couldn't handle. The river is flowing into nations. Chosen one. Nations. Countries you'll never visit will feel the ripple effects of your obedience. Missionary work you'll never fund will change eternal destinies. Orphanages you'll never see will house children because the river flowing through you created the stream that reached them. This isn't about you getting comfortable. This is about you becoming a conduit for the impossible. Think about that widow with 2 coins in Mark 12. Jesus said she gave more than all the rich men combined. Why? Because her sacrifice created a river that's still flowing 2,000 years later. Every time someone reads that story and decides to give sacrificially, her river touches another life. Your billionaire's blessing isn't coming so you can buy a bigger house. It's coming so you can build bigger hope. It's not coming so you can drive fancier cars. It's coming so you can drive out generational poverty from entire bloodlines. The river is flowing through you to heal what was broken, restore what was stolen, and rebuild what was destroyed. Every dollar that flows through your hands carries the DNA of divine purpose. Every investment you make echoes through eternity. But I need to ask you something that's going to cut deep. Are you ready to stop being a dam and start being a river? Because dams hold back, rivers flow forward. Dams protect what they have. Rivers share what they carry. Dams become stagnant over time. Rivers stay fresh through constant movement. Right now, stretch out your hands. Don't just sit there, do it. Feel that electricity running through your fingertips. That's not circulation, that's activation. God is turning your hands into release valves for heaven's economy. Declare it with me. I am a river, not a dam. I was created to flow, not to hoard. The abundance coming through me has nations written all over it. The river that once only kept you alive is now turning you into a fountain for nations. But the question that will determine whether you become a blessing or a bottleneck is this. When God opens those floodgates completely, will you have the courage to let it all flow through you? Chosen one. I need you to close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to see something that's going to shatter every limitation you've accepted, every lie you've believed about your future. Picture this with me. You're standing at the entrance of the most magnificent banquet hall you've ever seen. Crystal chandeliers hang like frozen tears of joy. Golden plates gleam under heaven's spotlight. The aroma of victory fills the air so thick you can taste it on your tongue. But here's what'll shock you to your core. This isn't just any feast. This is your feast. The one God has been preparing while you've been suffering. Psalm 23:5 declares with thunderous authority, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Not after your enemies leave. Not when your enemies apologize. In the presence of those who counted you out, wrote you off, and celebrated your pain. Look closer at this divine table, beloved. Every single piece tells a story of vindication, so complete it'll leave your jaw on the floor. Those bills that laughed at you every morning, they're now the golden plates serving your abundance. That mortgage that threatened to steal your home, it's now the tablecloth celebrating your ownership. Those medical expenses that drained your savings, they're the crystal glasses overflowing with divine health and supernatural provision. Every person who betrayed you, your own children who called you a burden, that church that pushed you aside, those friends who whispered behind your back when you lost everything, they're not invited to eat. They're forced to watch, forced to serve, forced to witness the God of vindication, proving he never forgot your name. Can you see your ex-spouse who took everything? They're standing there holding your napkin, watching billions flow into the account they thought they emptied. Can you see those adult children who abandoned you? They're serving the bread, realizing the inheritance they walked away from just multiplied beyond their wildest nightmares. But here's where it gets prophetic, where heaven's justice becomes so beautiful it'll bring tears to your eyes. Every bill that mocked you will now serve you. Every betrayal that wounded you will now witness you. Every door that slammed will now swing open. Every voice that said impossible will now whisper incredible. That doctor who gave you 6 months to live, he's watching you celebrate your 10th year of supernatural health. That banker who denied your loan, he's approving credit lines with numbers that don't fit on his calculator. That family member who said you'd die poor, they're watching you fund scholarships in their grandchildren's names. This isn't revenge, chosen one. This is vindication. There's a difference. Revenge seeks to harm. Vindication seeks to heal not just you, but everyone who witnesses God's faithfulness through your impossible story. Even your enemies will have to eat their words with a side of your testimony. They'll choke on every cruel comment as they watch your blessing manifest. They'll have to swallow their pride as they witness your promotion. They'll have to digest the truth that the God they said had forgotten you was actually preparing the feast of a lifetime. But look who's sitting at the head of this table. It's not you. It's Jesus himself, the one who knows what it feels like to be rejected, betrayed, counted out. He's the host who turns water into wine, who multiplies bread for the masses, who raises the dead to life. And he's smiling at you with eyes that say, "Welcome to the vindication you've been waiting for." The irony is so thick you could cut it with heaven's knife. The same people who said you were finished are about to discover you were just getting started. The same voices that declared your dreams dead are about to watch them resurrect with compound interest. The same enemies who thought they buried you are about to realize they actually planted you. Every tear you've cried has become seasoning for this feast. Every prayer you've whispered has become the wine that never runs dry. Every night you went to bed broken has become the strength that now serves this meal of supernatural abundance. Look around this table one more time, beloved. See those empty chairs? They were reserved for the people who should have supported you but didn't. They were saved for the family who should have stood with you but walked away. But their absence doesn't make your feast any less magnificent. It makes it more meaningful, because this table isn't about who's missing, it's about who's present. You, still breathing, still believing, still standing after everything hell threw at you. You are the guest of honor at the banquet of vindication. The table is set, chosen one. The feast is prepared. The enemies are watching. The blessing is served. And your name, your beautiful, chosen, anointed name, is engraved on the chair at the place of honor. God didn't just prepare a table for you. He prepared a throne disguised as a dining chair. He didn't just plan a meal for you. He orchestrated a celebration of his faithfulness through your survival. If you can see this table, if your spirit is already tasting this vindication, if you know beyond a shadow of doubt that your seat is reserved, type it in the comments right now, "My seat is reserved." Let heaven hear your declaration. Let your enemies see your confidence. Let the angels witness your faith. Because tomorrow morning, you're not waking up as someone hoping for breakthrough. You're waking up as someone seated at the table of supernatural vindication, where every impossible thing becomes inevitable, and every tear becomes a testimony that shakes the foundations of hell itself. Listen to me, chosen one. Do you hear that sound, that thundering in the distance? That's not your imagination. That's the sound of heaven's countdown clock striking 0. 7 days ago, God started a divine timer over your life. Day 1, he whispered your name in the halls of eternity. Day 2, he assembled the angels assigned to your breakthrough. Day 3, he began moving the chess pieces of your destiny across the board of time. Day 4, he started dismantling every obstacle that dared stand between you and your blessing. But today is day 7. And in God's economy, 7 means completion. You've been walking around the walls of your Jericho for too long. Those walls of poverty that have mocked your family for 3 generations. Those walls of sickness that have claimed too many of your loved ones. Those walls of rejection that whispered you'd never amount to anything. But Joshua 6:20 declares something that should make your spirit leap. When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. The walls didn't crumble slowly, beloved. They didn't chip away piece by piece. They collapsed. In one earth-shaking moment, What had stood for centuries was reduced to rubble. Your Jericho walls are about to meet their match. But here's what's going to shock you to your core. Heaven just moved your name from the waiting list to the action list. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The same God who told Moses, "This is the day the Lord will deliver Pharaoh into your hands," is telling you, this is your day. Every prayer you've whispered in the darkness wasn't falling on deaf ears. It was a trumpet blast weakening those walls. Every tear you've cried over unpaid bills wasn't wasted. It was liquid dynamite eating away at the foundation of your limitations. Every night you stayed faithful when everyone else gave up wasn't ignored. It was another trumpet call, shaking the very gates of hell. Do you remember what happened at Jericho? For 6 days they marched in silence. 6 days of walking the same path, seeing the same walls, facing the same impossibilities. But on the seventh day, they opened their mouths and shouted, "This is your seventh day, chosen one." The trumpet isn't just an instrument in the Bible, it's a weapon. When Gabriel blows his trumpet, the dead rise. When Joshua's army lifted their trumpets, walls fell. When you open your mouth right now and declare God's promises over your life, every demonic force that's been blocking your breakthrough starts to tremble. Your voice carries more power than you realize. Proverbs 18:21 declares, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Every time you've said, "I'm broke," you were speaking death. Every time you've declared, "I'll never make it," you were building walls. But when you shout, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," that's not just hope talking. That's heaven talking through your vocal cords. But I need to tell you something that's going to shake you. Time is running out. Not your lifetime, God's patience with the forces that have been blocking your blessing. The angel assigned to your breakthrough is standing with his sword drawn, waiting for one thing: your shout of faith. Every wall around your life is trembling right now. Can you feel it? That wall of financial limitation, it's shaking. That wall of family dysfunction, it's cracking. That wall of health problems, it's about to crumble. Every chain that's held you back is rattling. Every delay that's frustrated you is breaking apart like glass hitting concrete. This is not the time to whisper, beloved. This is not the moment to doubt. This is your Jericho moment, and the walls are waiting for your war cry. Shout now, not later when you feel more confident. Now. Pray now, not when you have more time. Now. Believe now, not when the circumstances look better. Now. Act now, not when you understand everything. Now. The enemy has been counting on your silence. He's been banking on your doubt. He's been hoping you'd stay quiet just long enough for this moment to pass. But I'm here to tell you that your silence ends today. Every trumpet blast Joshua's army made wasn't just noise, it was prophetic declaration. Every shout wasn't just emotion, it was spiritual warfare. And right now, as you sit there listening to these words, something is building in the atmosphere around your life. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is coursing through your spirit right now. The same authority that spoke worlds into existence is waiting to speak your breakthrough into reality. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," is about to say, "Let there be abundance in my chosen one's life." Every wall is trembling, every chain is shaking, every delay is breaking right now. The sound of your faith-filled voice is like thunder in the spirit realm. Demons are fleeing, angels are moving, heaven is responding. Your breakthrough isn't coming in God's perfect timing, it's coming in God's right now timing. If you feel that fire burning in your chest, if you sense that this is your moment, if you know in your spirit that the walls are about to fall, type it, shout it, declare it with everything in you. No more delay. Let hell know you're done waiting. Let heaven know you're ready to receive. Let your breakthrough know you're not backing down. Because what happens next will prove that when God says now, every force in hell has to bow. But the question that will determine your destiny is this: will you shout, Or will you let this moment pass in silence like all the others? Beloved chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred encounter together, I need you to carry 3 eternal truths with you, like precious stones in your heart. First, your billionaire's blessing isn't just money, it's divine vindication. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured, every moment you felt forgotten has been recorded in heaven's ledger. God hasn't missed a single detail of your struggle, and He's about to answer every prayer with compound interest. Second, the vault that cracked open at the beginning of this message. It's still open. Your name is still echoing through eternity as the key that unlocked what's been waiting for you. The 7-day countdown isn't theory, it's reality, and day 7 has arrived with your breakthrough in its hands. Third, when those walls of limitation finally crumble around your life, remember this moment. Remember when hope felt impossible, but you chose to believe anyway. Remember when your faith was tested, but you refused to let go. Because your testimony isn't just for you, it's for the generations who need to know that God still moves mountains for His chosen ones. But hear me clearly, you are not walking this path alone. Even when the road feels uncertain, even when doubt whispers lies in your ear, even when the breakthrough seems delayed, the God who parted the Red Sea, who raised the dead, who spoke worlds into existence, is working behind the scenes on your behalf right this very moment. Every sunrise is His signature on a new day of possibilities. Every breath you take is proof that your story isn't finished. And beyond God's faithfulness, you have a community right here. Look around these comments. See these hearts connecting across the digital divide. Feel these spirits resonating with the same frequency of faith. We're not just viewers on a screen, we're a family, united by hope, bound together by belief, connected by the understanding that God's chosen ones recognize each other. We see you, we believe in you, we will pray with you. Let me ask you one final question that will echo in your heart long after this video ends. If God has brought you this far through every valley, every storm, every season that tried to break you, why would He abandon you now at the threshold of your greatest victory? Now, before you leave this sacred space, let me place my hand on your shoulder through these words and pray over your life with the authority of someone who has witnessed God's faithfulness for 5 decades. Almighty God, creator of heaven and earth, the God who sees every tear and counts every prayer, I come before you now carrying every person who has stayed with us through this entire message. Father, their faithfulness to listen proves they carry something precious: hope mixed with desperation, belief seasoned with pain, and a heart that refuses to quit despite everything hell has thrown at them. Lord, I pray that you would breathe fresh life into their weary bones right now. Where they feel forgotten, remind them they are engraved on your palms. Where they feel broke, open windows of heaven they've never imagined. Where they feel alone, surround them with your presence, so tangible they can feel your arms around them. God, release the billionaire's blessing we've talked about tonight. Not just financial abundance, but spiritual wealth, emotional restoration, physical healing, and relational breakthrough. Let every wall of limitation crumble like Jericho. Let every chain of poverty, sickness, and rejection be shattered by your mighty hand. Give them dreams that direct their steps, visions that guide their decisions, and divine connections that accelerate their destiny. Place the right people in their path and remove every person who would hinder your plans for their life. Father, let them sleep tonight with perfect peace, knowing that while they rest, you are working. Let them wake tomorrow with supernatural strength, divine wisdom, and unshakable faith. And let the testimony of their breakthrough become a lighthouse for others lost in the storm. In Jesus' mighty name, the name above every name, the name that breaks every chain, I seal this prayer over their life. Let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, share what stirred in your spirit during this message. What is God speaking to your heart? What breakthrough are you believing Him for? Don't hold back. Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep believing. Type "I receive my billionaire's blessing" if you're ready to step into everything God has prepared for you. And please, share this video with someone who needs to remember they're not forgotten. There's someone in your life right now, a family member, a friend, a neighbor who feels exactly like you felt when you first clicked on this message. Be the vessel that carries this hope to them. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. You're not just subscribing to content, you're joining a movement of believers who refuse to accept defeat, who understand that God's delays are not his denials, and who know that the best is yet to come. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart, for believing when believing felt impossible, for choosing hope over despair. Your presence here tonight wasn't coincidence, it was divine appointment. Until we meet again in the next message, walk in the authority of who you are, chosen, beloved, blessed, and destined for breakthrough. Your billionaire's blessing isn't just coming, it's here. Go in peace, knowing that what God has started in your life, he will complete. The vault is open, your name is called, and heaven is moving on your behalf. God bless you, chosen one. Your breakthrough begins now.